Today I'd like to talk about hedges. Most people just think of hedges as conifers and prostrums, but there's actually a lot more choices and a lot more things you can do. I'm going to show you quite a few examples of different hedges and different aspects of hedges. This is a beautiful example of a viburnum hedge. It's flowers, and as you can see, it's this gorgeous light green foliage when it grows back. It goes to dark green foliage, and we'll have a look at one of those at a different stage. This is another viburnum. This has been cut without using string lines and just using a more natural pruning technique. So it's got very soft edges and not heavily flat surfaces. So and also this is a little bit older, so you get the darker green. This is another example of a viburnum hedge. This has been pruned less regularly and therefore it's a little bit more open. But you can see you can adjust the height according to what you'd like. And this is what will happen if you forget to prune it. So you can see regular maintenance is really important when you're doing a hedge. This is a lovely example of a camellia hedge. Something that will give you flowers and still look lovely and green. Here's a hedge you might want to consider. This is a camellia, and not only is it beautiful, it's quite slow growing, and the perfume is beautiful. I wish you could smell it. I believe this is an English yew tree. I'm not absolutely positive, but I suspect it is. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is really be careful what you plant. If this is a yew tree, the whole plant is quite poisonous, with the exception of the flesh around the seed. And you wouldn't want to have anything that's deadly around the house. So just think long and hard about what you're going to plant. Okay, I'd just like to bring a couple of little things to your attention when you're planting a hedge. A lot of people plant singularly and put them apart, and it's a little bit sparse. And also if one dies, it's a major issue. But I'm very impressed with this planting. They kind of plant them one side and one the other, diagonally planted from each other. So if one dies, it won't leave a huge hole. And also it'll fill the hedge really quickly and you won't be waiting years. So it'll be quite fantastic. And also another thing you might have noticed there is they put in dripper hoses, which is a great idea because they're already there. You can keep the young plants watered and you can use it later on. But I would suggest you put the dripper hoses on the outside of the plants so they're easily pulled out, maintained and put back. This is an abelia. It's also another flowering plant, not very fast growing and can be quite well and easily controlled. This is a beautiful planting of abelias. We looked at an abelia hedge, and this one will become a hedge, but it's going to take a long time, which is why I suggest that you plant diagonally and also put them quite close so it fills quickly. Otherwise you're going to end up with spaces like this. I mean, they're quite cute on their own, but if you're after a hedge, it won't do the trick. This is a cotoneaster. The birds will love you for planting this, but every neighbour and every environmentalist will hate you. It used to be used a long time ago for common hedge planting, but unfortunately the birds eat the berries and then transport the seeds all over the place. So it's become quite a common weed. It's quite beautiful, and you can use other berry plants, like all the feijoas and guavas. You can use those, and same thing, you can actually harvest and eat the berries, unlike this one. I'd just like to also plant, as the hedges get older, they constantly move out just a little bit every time you prune. And as you can see, this is taking over the footpath. Behind me is another pittosporum. As you can see, it makes quite a beautiful hedge, and the people who've used a very wonderful technique of putting the agapanthus, the small plants, close to the paths and driveways so that the hedge isn't encroaching. This is a conifer. This is variegated. All the variegated things will grow a bit slower than your normal plants. And here they've used a green, and also along here is a gold tip variety, and there's a sort of one with a bluish colour. There's lots of choices in conifers, but I'd just like to give you a little warning. Conifers, if you cut them back into the brown wood, a lot of them will never resprout. So if you cut your hedge too hard, or someone crashes into it with a bike or something like that, you might get dead patches that can't be replaced. and it's very, very difficult to plant another little piece of hedge in there to grow. So conifers, if you are putting a conifer hedge in, make sure it's one that will sprout, that is really appropriate, that can grow back from old growth, and there's very few that will do it. So just check your plants properly before you plant. So I hope you've enjoyed our exploring our hedges, and I look forward to you tuning in next time. Remember, subscribe, and bye for now.